Welcome to Artistic Adventures. We're making this guy, Baby Yoda. I'm in love, and I think everyone is, so let's go. Okay, we're going to do something really different. Something that I just thought about last night and I really want to do because I'm in love with this guy. I don't know how many other people are, but I think it's a lot. So what I thought I'm going to try to do is combine a couple of new things and see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen. But I want to sculpt him out of polymer clay and then try to do a silicone mold and make him out of silicone, and then he would be squishy. So it's going to require a lot of work and a lot of different techniques, but it's all things that I've done before and things I've actually made some different films about, like making eyes and things like that. So the only thing that'd be different is I've never done a silicone mold of this type. I've done some molds, but they were very small and made out of very simple materials. So this is going to be much more complex. So I've got a couple pictures. This one was a pretty detailed face, so I like that. And then this one is a full figure. And then I like this expression, although you can't see it super well, but I like he's kind of, sometimes he looks like he's frowning in pictures, but I like it when he looks kind of like sweet. Sorry about that, my phone rang and I had to get that call, so let's regroup here. What I want to do is, first of all, I'm going to walk you through this as I do it, and we'll see how it turns out. But we got to figure out the dimensions of the body because I want to mold the entire body. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the top of his head, and then this is the bottom where his chin is. So that's top of head, chin. I'm going to put the end of his arms are here. And arms. And then we'll say his feet. You can't really see his feet, but because they're under the robe, but we'll get it right at the bottom of the robe. So that should be close. And so that's bottom of feet. So why are we doing this? Well, part of the thing with making something is that the proportions are right. Like we know with, let's say we did a human, we know what part of the human the proportions are for the head and the body and the legs, etc. And if we made it outside of those proportions, it wouldn't look like a human. So we don't know what Baby Yoda is. We know he's looks like Yoda, but we never knew what Yoda's species was. So that's going to be hard. We're going to have to kind of look at this and look at proportions. This is the only full-length picture I found. I'm sure there's others, but so this is top of eyes. This is bottom of eyes. And then I'm going to say the nose is kind of like that. See what I'm saying? We got to get this in proportion. And then his mouth, so this is eyes, nose, and then the mouth starts about right there. And the bottom is there. And then the chin starts protruding there. That's the chin. Alright, Now, from the top of the head to the feet on this picture is 4 inches. Now, I want to make my Yoda 12 inches. I don't know how tall he is. He's probably a little bigger than that, really, but I think 12 is about the most that I can handle on my first casting project. Because, you know, that's going to be like pretty big, and he's maybe 18 or so. So what we have to do is come up with a picture 12 inches that is the same proportion as this. So you remember when you went to school and you did math and you thought, why are we doing this? We'll never use it. We're going to use it. We're going to use it today. Yay. And I'm going to get another pen because this one is almost dried up. All right, so the first thing we want to do is measure off 12 inches in the middle here. And that'll be from the top of his head. Oh, you know, one other thing I didn't put on here was where his ears start. And that's important. So ears. Well, I'm going to come out here with the ears in the bottom of the ears. So that will be ears. So you see we've got everything now. The nose, the mouth, the chin, the eyes. This is going to help us to have this look realistic, or, you know, like a baby Yoda. Alright, so first thing first, we're going to draw. This is a 12-inch ruler, so we're going to put it right in the middle so we have room to draw. Okay, and the other thing I want to do is measure the width of his head. This is kind of hard because you want to get what's head and what's ear separate. So I'm going to get kind of where the head starts to curve out into the ear and where the cheek is. That's about right there. So that's the head width. So the head width is 1 3/4 inch. 1 3/4 inch. Okay, and the eyes are, oh my gosh, I hate it when they're not like the exact right on the line. So these are, let's see, 1/8, 1/4. So 8. Wait, that's 8. 2/8. 16. Oh my god, I can't even see this. Maybe I should do this in centimeters. Ugh. Centimeters would make it easier, wouldn't it? Okay, so it's right there, which is 1, 2, 3, 5/16. Don't you love all this math? Isn't this great? Or 8s. Wait. Now that's an 8. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's right. 16th. All right. The nose. I have to hold this up so I can look at it straight. The nose is exactly 1/8. The mouth is 1/16. The chin is 1/4. And the ears oh great, 3/4 of an inch, easy. 3/4. Alright. Oh, let's do the shoulders too, because I can't exactly see them, but let's say he's got a little neck there, and then the shoulders. So the arms then would be, the length of the arms would be oh, I'm on centimeter side. Actually doing it in centimeters would be easier. But would be 1 and, oh gosh, let's say almost 1.5, but a little less. So we'll put less than 1.5. Alright, so he's 12, let's say he's, what did I say this was? 4, oh. So he's total of 4 inches tall here. Now, if I want to go to 12 inches, that's pretty easy, because that just means that I'm going to multiply the 4 times 3 to equal 12, right? So that means all I have to do is triple these dimensions, and it should work out the same. Ha 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 ha. Right? Okay, so we've got our 12 inches marked off. Oh, I didn't do, yeah, I did. I did the head. So maybe I will do this in centimeters. That would make it so much easier. Although they're not exact. Yeah, well, it would make it a lot easier. Let's do that. So the head would be 4 point. So 43 centimeters. 4 inches equals, oh, why does it have to be opposite? I could just look at it then. Let's say 10.5, 10.5 centimeters. So if I want to convert to 12 times 3, this is a whole lot easier on centimeters, because then you're just multiplying tens or halves of tens. For those of you in America, we're still in inches, but if you get a ruler that's got inches on one side and centimeters on the other, just measure everything in centimeters. Now, millimeters are the small marks and centimeters are the big marks. So I'm sorry, that was actually millimeters, 43 millimeters that I counted. And that's 10.5 millimeters. No, centimeters. That was centimeters. I'll get it. I promise. So, if you want to do it in inches, still all you got to do is multiply everything here by 3. If you want to do it in centimeters, still you're going to multiply everything times 3, because we're doing it 3 times as big. Right? So, yeah. So in other words, 12 inches would be 30.5 centimeters. Okay, I think this is not right. 10.5 times 3. Yeah, 31.5 is a little bit bigger. Oh well. Let me look at this again. Get it right on the 10 point. It's not 5, it's 10.3. Okay. 10.3 times 3 equals 30.9. So it's almost 31 centimeters. So 30. So that's 30.5. That's 31. Okay. Yeah, so 31 centimeters. All right. So we're making him 31 centimeters tall. Get there. All right, and then the width of his head is 43 millimeters times 3. Well, I'm going to keep it in centimeters. No, okay, millimeters. 43 millimeters times 3 equals 129, or 12.9. So that means his head is about this wide. Does that look right? Yeah. All right. And then his ears are 3.5 centimeters. 3.5 times 3 equals 10.5. Oh, I'm not going to have enough room on here for his ears. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll deal with that in a minute. Ears. So that would put his ears coming out to here. See, 12 inches is, it's going to make him pretty big. So I think it's going to make him this tall. Yeah. All right. So, you see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is just continue converting this. I'm talking out loud. So from the top of the head to the chin, I didn't measure that. In centimeters is 3.5. Height of head times 3 is 10.5. centimeters. All right, so that's the bottom of his chin. That's the top of his head. bottom of chin, width of head. Alright. So let's assume he has a little neck. And then his shoulders are about the width of his head. It looks like you can't really see them. They're kind of under here, but I would assume they're about the width of his head. And that was 12.5. So actually we can just do it like this. Alright, so this is where his shoulders would come to at this level. And then we don't know what his body looks like, right? But we do know that his arms are 1.5 inches, which is approximately... Why didn't we put this on the same side? Three and a half. Everything's 3.5. Okay, so another 10.5 to his arms. So those are the end of his arms. And then we know his feet are down here. So I assume that from this, he's probably got very short legs and then a bigger body than a human child who would have an equal proportion arm to leg ratio. So let's just, from here, we're going to just start sketching what we think the general outline will look like. This is going to give us an idea when we start molding out of clay what the general shape is going to be, because, you know, when I pictured 12 inches, I was picturing his head being smaller, you know, but it, you know, when you look at the proportion, the width versus the height on that picture, his head is pretty wide, so he's mostly head. What I'm going to do is just use a pencil to kind of just sketch out the general outline, and then I'll go back and so his head sort of is from the top, it kind of curves down, and we'll make it come to this line where we said the edge of his head was. And then it's kind of an oval from there to the bottom of his chin. And then his ears came out here. Wait, I didn't say where the ears started, did I? I didn't. Okay, so from the top of the head to the ear, start of the ears is 1.2, so 1.2 times 3, 3.6. See, I would have started the ears too high. I started them up here. Okay, and then again over here. Okay. And the ears are really good just straight out from there. And then we'll zoom his little shoulders. Come out. And then his arms go down to there. Alright, so his arms are down here, or this is the tips of the fingers. And as far as like the neck, you know, we don't really know. We can't really usually see his neck. I'm going to assume it's about like that based on, you know, the rest of his proportions. And, you know, how babies look versus adults. Alright, and then, you know how babies, they kind of have a big stomach, you know, they start up here and then they have like that roundy stomach. That's kind of how I envision him. And then some little chunky legs. Then his little feet. So something like that. Okay. All right. So why is it important to do this? It's important because you can now take your sculpt and say, okay, I'm going to make the head this big and, you know, hold it up to it actually. You can put it down and say, okay, I've got the right size head, I've got the right size body. If everything is in proportion, you know, it should be easier to make it look like him if you can sculpt the, you know, the face to look the same or whatever. So, I think we got the proportions pretty well, because he's just mostly head. I mean, of his body, his head is, what did I say? The head is 3.5 centimeters, and he's a total of 31, right? Oh, sorry, that's after I calculated he's about 10 and a half, or 10.3. So let's divide 3.5 divided by 10.3. His head is 34% of his body. Okay, which means he's just mostly head. If you look at a human baby, the head is like a fourth of the body. Okay, so, you know, when we're building this, it's just going to be a lot of different proportions. You know, for a head that big, for a human baby, he would be much taller. But our little guy is mostly head. Alright, now the next thing I want to do, I'm not going to worry about the ears right now. The ears kind of come out right almost at the chin. Like that. It's the proportion of the eyes because I will actually mold the eyes myself. These eyes, you don't see white. You see mostly just brown, as far as I can tell. Let's see if any of these other pictures. Yeah, it's mostly just brown. Looks like there may be some tiny bit of white right at the edges. So I'm going to make the eyes myself out of resin. So I need to get the diameter. Hey, more math, right? Yay! Yay, math. All right, so we know that the eyes are 5. Oh, I did convert that to centimeters. All right, millimeters. They are on here. 7 centimeters. Right? Yeah. 7 meters tall, and just about 7 millimeters wide. So let's multiply that times 3. Should be 21. Yep. So, oh, and I want to see where they start. They start, so we're measuring from the top of the head to the start of the eyes is just about 8 centimeters. So 8 times 3 is 24. So if I come down, kind of got this ridge, and then his eye is like that. This looks too tall to me. I don't know why. Let's see. 10.5. And that's 3.5. 3. Okay. That is too big. There's 20, a little over 24 wide, so right at and then the distance between them is 1, it's like about 12. So 12 times 3 would be 36. So 3.6 centimeters, which would be about this much. Alright, and then from the eyes to the mouth, the start of the mouth is the bottom of the eye to the start of the mouth is 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, 18 cent. Oh, you know, I need to just measure the nose. The nose. Oh, it's about right. So 18 down the start of the mouth would be about right there. And then his chin is kind of like that. And he has like cheeks. Okay, so I'm not trying to get it to look like him on the paper. I'm just trying to get the proportions right so that when I'm sculpting it, I know how big everything should be. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. One of the first things I want to do is make the eyes, because I have to embed the eyes in the clay when I start making it, because when I mold it I have to have the eyes in there. Now I'm not going to make the actual eyes that will be in the silicone doll, because this clay doll will just be scrap. So I'm just going to make some polymer clay eyes that are the same size so I can put them in when I'm sculpting it. Then when we do the actual silicone mold, we will make resin eyes and cut out a slit in the silicone and put them in. So it looks like, I said they were about 24 wide and 21 tall. So basically I'm going to make them probably about 25 to 26 millimeters. I'll put a little white around the edge when I do them, just so there's a little bit showing. But I want to have another reason I'm making them bigger is I want to have them go behind the silicone. So, you know, the hole that I cut out will be this size, the correct size of his eye opening, and then the eye we'll be able to slip it in. We'll cut a hole behind it. We'll just cut out some silicone and stick it in. So I need the eye to actually be a little bit bigger. Okay. So this is the starting point. I think it's going to be a very adventurous project. Oh my gosh. But if I could make something that's cute, I would be so happy. I would be so happy. All right. Now, the other thing that's going to be important for the eyes is that when I make the polymer clay, I'm going to use this easy mold, which we've used before on this channel, a silicone putty, to make a mold of this so that I can use the mold to make the resin eye. Got it? Alright. Also, this will take the place of the eye in the clay mold that I'm making. So, I need to make it pretty smooth and nice. I have this metal, I don't even really know what it's called. I had it back when I was making metal jewelry, and I'm pretty sure we could get close to what we want. It's a nice round hole. So let's measure these. Let's see, that one is, oh, that one's 25 right there. So, and I'm going to make them half eyes because that will be easier to put them into the silicone doll. Okay. Now I need to scrape this off. Hang on. For my clay tools I haven't used in a while. So I've pressed that down in there. Now I'm going to use this, which is sharp on this end, and slice this off, and hopefully I'll get a nice round half circle, and hopefully I didn't count on getting it out. How am I going to get it out? Alright, I should have put water in it or something. Alright, we're going to try this again. Where's my water? I have a little bottle of water here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Alright, so let's try this again. And I won't cut it this time. I'll just see if I can get it nice and round. Nope. That sucked. We need it to be really smooth. Still not smooth. that's pretty good. Set that over there for now. We'll get us another piece. Alright, so I'm going to try to bake these and then we'll make the silicone mold. Okay, I just finished baking these and I think they're pretty smooth, but I just want to try to smooth these a little bit more. I'm just using this super fine 3M foam sandpaper that I use on my Blythe dolls and the other dolls that I carve. Just going in a circular motion and just want to try to remove any kind of little small ridges and make this as smooth as possible. I really only need one, but I'm going to try to get both as good as I can. That has a little ridge right there, but I don't think that's a problem because it's not going to show on the outside eye because that'll be behind the silicone. Otherwise, this looks pretty good. I'm going to try to get it just as smooth as I can. Alright, so I'm going to do this one too off camera, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to mix up some easy mold and make some silicone molds so we can do the epoxy eyes. Finished sanding these, and although I feel like they're both pretty round, this one is rounder, so I'm going to mold this one, use this one for the mold, even though I'm going to use both eyes in the clay model, so the clay sculpt, so I mean it'll be good enough for that. But I think I will use just this one for the mold. So, this is easy, just mixed equal parts. You have lots of time to play with it, really. It doesn't cure that fast. And then I can use it in the future to make more eyes, even, you know, the clay eyes, because, you know, these eyes will be ruined once I put them in the actual mold, so, I mean the clay model that we're making. So I'm just going to use about half of this, so just eyeball it, get about half out. And about half of this. I'll get some of it on this, then that'll get hard. I think that's about right. Whoops. And then we're just going to squish them together until they're well mixed. And then we'll stick the eyeball in them. 2 eyeballs in them, actually. Actually, probably could have used less than this, but oh well. I'm gonna do this off camera. I think I have this pretty well mixed. All the white is gone. This stuff is pretty expensive, the Easy Mold. I think the box is about $23.99 or so, $24 at Michael's. But they were having their continued Black Friday sale today, so I got it for 60% off, which is good. So look for those 50 and 60% off coupons if you're going to buy that. Also, they had 25% off your entire purchase, and I was able to get my Super Sculpting that I'm going to use to make this baby out of. So got some pretty good deals today. Alright, so I want to make a mold, and I always start out pretty thick because you're going to have to press down into it. And the other thing I want to do is make it flatter and make it a rectangle. Whoop. So let's see. Because I have to get 2 eyeballs, so I can put one there and there. That's about right. Squish it down just a little bit more. Remember, it has to be the thickness of the eyeball, so that's about 1/2 inch. Alright, so here we go. This will be our first eyeball. I am going to have to use 2 eyeballs. I forgot you have to leave them in there too till they cure. Okay, I think I've got them pretty well done. So we'll just leave that block like that until it cures, and it takes 25 minutes. So I've got a couple other things to do. I'll be back in a little while. It's been 25 minutes. These guys should be cooked, and yeah, oh, came out really good. Alright, so now we have our mold for our 25-inch eyes, and we don't have to worry about it being even because the epoxy will be even wherever we stop it, and hopefully we'll be able to do that evenly. I'm doing some other size eyeballs here, but they're not ready yet, so I'm going to put those over there. And the next thing is to try to get this back off of here. Not sure if this is going to work, but we're going to try. This looks like it's going to be a long process, so I'll do this off camera and I'll be back. That saw idea does not work. So basically I just used my X-Acto and kind of chipped away at it till I got it. It's very crumbly, kind of like chalk. Well, harder than chalk, but it doesn't really matter that these aren't perfect because we're going to embed them in some clay. And they're just really there to create a shape and hold a place. So I am going to try to color them just a little bit because I would like them to be somewhat evocative of his eyes. He looks like it's a really big, dark pupil. And then some brown around that. Not sure how brown this is. I don't think this is very brown. But let's see. Yeah, that's not too brown. We need a darker brown. Oh, that's kind of reddish. Hang on, I got some brown here somewhere. Okay, and then I'm going to get a little bit darker brown. Okay, so we got some eyes that are kind of like his. Ooh. I'm going to put a little bit of this gloss varnish on it just to keep the color from transferring. Okay. Set those aside to dry for a minute. While we're doing that, we're going to start on the armature for the head. And we're going to use aluminum foil. So, armature is like a skeleton, basically, under the skin. And for the heads, it's going to be a a sort of oval this way blob, and I'm going to have a little handle on it too, I think, to kind of keep it something to hold on to. But so what I'm thinking is a little bit more. I think I might need a little bit more. Mostly on the sides. Okay, let's see how that looks. Now I just want to measure this against our picture to see. Alright, so it looks like we have plenty of room around that to... Oh, not all the way. Okay. Looks like we have plenty of room around that. So this is going to just be the center, and then the clay will be around it. This will just mean we don't have to use as much clay, and it'll cook better because the clay won't be as thick. Alright, so we're going to start working on the head. First, I'm going to just kind of clear up a little bit, so give me a minute and I'll be right back. Ready to start sculpting. I put down some aluminum foil just because this table that I'm working on has some texture to it, and I like to work on a smooth surface. I do sometimes work on, I have a glass table that I'll work on, but a lot of this is going to be just me holding it and doing stuff, so I think we'll be alright with this. One thing I'm not sure yet about is how I'm going to do the ears. I think I'll attach those, I may attach those like the last thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. We'll see about that. But I am a little concerned that the ears are going to need a wire armature. And I'm not sure if I can cast this in silicone with the ears on it, because they're so wide and you know, sort of like a different part of the body. So I'm just not sure. I think at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to make them separate. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep thinking about it. Alright, but we've got our armature, which looks like that. And we've got our eyeballs. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a layer of clay over the head to get it started. I'm using Super Sculpting. There are lots of different polymer clays out there, but I'm using this. It works pretty well. I like this. I can get the beige in a bulk pack. It doesn't really matter what color he is here, because this is, like I said, the clay part's all going to go away, and when we cast him in silicone, he'll be green. So I like this beige just because you can buy it in a bulk pack. I wanted to buy like 1,200 little green packs. Would have been very expensive. It's already kind of expensive. But when you get your polymer clay, you just have to work it and get it softened up. And I may start using my pasta machine, since I'm going to have so much of this to work with. I have a pasta machine, and you can roll it through there and get it conditioned a lot faster. But for this first coat, I think I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to probably stop the video at the point that we get the head kind of started, because it's going to be too long. I want to do the head sculpting all in one long video, and then won't be so bad. But this one is already getting pretty long, and I've pretty much done the things that I wanted to, which was to get the proportions of the body in the head, and then to get started with the eyes. So I don't have to cast the eyes until after we do the silicone part, so we don't really need to mess with that right now. I mean, we could if we wanted to. but we don't have to. So, what I do want to do though is to go ahead and get a layer of clay over the head armature and then position the eyes at the place that they need to be in the correct spot. So this is just the first piece. Also going to have to go back and look and see. There's not a lot of pictures of him from the side, so I want to see how thick, you know, how like from front to back, how big his head is. Because I kind of see it as not being as deep as it is wide, but I may be wrong about that. I'll see if I can find some pictures. Some other things you could do is take a roller and roll this, but I think I'm going to have to transfer my pasta machine over here as much as I don't want to because I don't have room. But you do what you got to do, right? And with my arthritis in my hands, sometimes it's just not that easy to get this clay conditioned the way I'd like to. So I'm going to make the head separate, I think, from the body. I think it would be really hard to, like, you know, get the head, because that's going to be the hard part, is the face. If you don't get the face right, if you don't get that cute expression, you might as well just quit, because it's not going to work. Because most of him is covered up, you know. We can see his hands sometimes, but the body part is not that big a deal. And I surely wouldn't want to mess up his face if I get it right by working on the body. I could just see that happening. That's exactly what would happen. So putting the eyes in is going to be interesting because we're not going to have the head at exactly the same dimensions as it is in my drawing yet. It's just not there yet. It's going to have to get bigger. But we have to put the eyes in now because we have to sculpt around them. So, not to mention they're not exactly flat on the back either. So I need to have some depth to play with. So just about got this covered. Just a little tiny bit more over here on this side, and I think we'll be good. I get all of the aluminum foil part covered. Alright, that's pretty good. Doesn't have to be smooth. Alright, so let's look at our picture. Get these eyes off of this thing. Alright, so we have our head. And I'd say it's probably going to be about right there. That gives us room to build the chin and then to build up over the top. Once you see that. Basically, I basically put it right in the middle of the head, I think. Yeah. So, if I was going to attach the ears, what I'd do is put some wire into the aluminum foil to bring out, and that would give it the strength that it needs, you know, in the ears. But I'm just afraid to cast it that way. I think it's going to be better if we do the head part and then we make the ears separately. which we can do. Once we cook the head, we could mold ears to match the size of the head, the side of the head, and then cook those separately. So I think that's the best way to do it. Now, as far as the eyes, I can see them a little bit up here, so I'm going to add some more clay up here. Some more height to the head. And then we should be able to position the eyes. You don't want to have the aluminum foil be too big because there's parts of this where you have to be able to have some depth, and then like things that are going to come out, like the cheeks are going to be raised, but the back of the eyes are going to be deep. So you have to have both deepness and shallow things, like wrinkles in the skin or whatever would be more shallow. You don't really need a lot of depth for that, but I think it's better to probably have a little bit more clay to work with than not. So and then I just work this in up here to get some height on the head. I don't know if you guys are watching the Mandalorian. I guess I should have talked about this at the beginning. I'm like, everybody knows who Baby Yoda is. If you haven't, on Disney Plus, the channel Disney Plus, which it is a premium channel, so you have to pay $6.99 a month for it. But if you're a Star Wars fan, this is the first kind of a really original thing that's come out. The movies that have been coming out are really kind of a extension of the previous movies that were out that Lucasfilm made. But The Mandalorian is a completely new series, and I don't think anybody's really sure yet exactly how it all fits in, because he's a character we haven't really seen in any depth. Hang on, let me look at this again. I think I still need more up at the top. The Mandalorian is actually I don't know if it's a race of people so much as it is a cult, or not. I don't know if it's even a cult. It's a group of people. I don't think it's like a race. It's more like you become a Mandalorian, and then you adhere to their code or whatever. They're warrior type people, and they have helmets that they're not supposed to take off. A camera cut off right in the middle explaining about Mandalorians. So the Mandalorians have this helmet and armor that's special for them, and that helmet they're not supposed to take off where anybody can see them. I mean, they can take it off, obviously, they have to eat and whatever, but nobody is supposed to see their face. So that's a big part of it, is he doesn't take his helmet off. You don't see his face. And they have a certain code that they live by. Well, I don't think we all really know exactly what the code is all involved about, but he was orphaned by a war that happened, and his parents were killed, and the Mandalorians took him in, so he has a certain loyalty to them and to their code. I mean, my get from it is that they're all kind of really strong, warrior types. I'm not sure what the real original purpose of being the warriors was yet. I have read that the Mandalorians do appear in some of the ancillary products that accompanied Star Wars, like comics or books or whatever. But I haven't really seen it, so I'm not really sure. I'm just telling you what I know from the series. And I'm not going to spoil too much, other than the fact that you have to watch it. But obviously Baby Yoda's in it. So, And everybody wants a Baby Yoda, including me. So I'm going to make one. And if you want one, you can make one too. So anyway, the Mandalorian in this series, this particular guy is like a bounty hunter. So it has an element of like the Old West to it. There's a little bit of a shootout at the OK Corral kind of stuff. And he goes and hunts for different people, that are wanted for whatever reason. And then he gets, hopefully, a reward for the bounty. Now, the one thing I don't understand is, like, Lando Calrissian is the guy that sort of gives him his orders and, tells him who to go get. But I don't know, he sort of seems like a bad character, and I didn't really think he was a bad character. I thought he sort of redeemed himself in the other Star Wars. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I don't know everything. But anyway, woo, this is getting heavy. It's going to be heavy clay. Woo. Anyway, I think this is getting there to where we could put the eyes in. So I wonder if this will transfer. That would be cool. I did a little bit. Remember Silly Putty? And you could put it down like on a comic and it would transfer. Yeah, this one kind of did. Huh. Alright, so we're about half an inch from the top of the head. Still have some clay to add. And then the eyes are... Let's see if I can get it to actually transfer. Oh yeah! I don't know if you can see it, but see the... Yeah. Alright, so that's where we're going to put the eyes. That was easy. Alright, so I'm going to put the eyes in there. Kind of press them in. Ta-da! Baby Yoda! Now, I'm going to build up some clay around the eyes just to make sure that they hold. And then that's probably going to be it for this video because this one's getting a little bit long. And I want to really spend a lot of time sculpting in one video alone. So you can kind of, keep one whole process together. But do comment in the comments below. I don't know, I noticed in my last video, the one about the Reborn doll scam, I kept saying, comment in the description, comment in the comment section if you're watching The Mandalorian and if you love Baby Yoda. And I think I've told you enough now that you kind of know what it's about and in the gist of it. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you got $6.99 a month. You get 7, I think, is it 7 or 3 days free? I think it's only 3 days free. So you could go and watch. There's four chapters out, or what do you call it, episodes out now. And you could watch at least those 4 and see if you like it before you start the $3.99. I mean $6.99 a month. But so like his eyes, his eyes are a different shape a little bit than human. He's got more of a curve on the upper lid. Human's a little bit more straight than that. So we're just gonna I want to get some around the eyes to hold it in. So I'm going to try to just sort of, actually I don't even need all of that. So I'm going to try to go around this top part here. If I need to add more later, I can. But I want to get enough to hold it in. Okay, so we got that part. Just to cover up the very top. And then we'll do the same thing over here. So I think it's a good show, and my husband's watching it, who watches Star Wars with me because, you know, it's entertaining and all, but he's not a big, huge sci-fi nut like I am, you know. But he watches, he likes it. It's got, you know, it's got a good storyline. Good versus evil kind of thing. Those are always good. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Put a little strip down there. And that should hold the eyes in. Sort of give us a starting point. I think this will help us to see, you know, measure all the measurements and everything. We'll be able to kind of judge everything by the eyes now. And like I said, I am going to look a little bit more online and see if I can find pictures of the depth of his head. And so I looked a little bit this morning, but I got so excited about making Baby Yoda. Didn't really look a lot. Alright. That's where we are. It looks a little bit like E.T. right now. So I'm going to leave it here for now, and we'll come back in the next video, and we'll be working more on the whole sculpt, and probably do the head in one video and then maybe the body in another. I'm not sure how we'll end up doing it. It depends on the time, but fortunately this doesn't like dry out like air dry clay. It's going to be able to be moved around if we need to, but I think we got a good start, and we have a plan of action. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen the show, go watch it so you can be wanting your own Baby Yoda. We don't know his name, by the way. He's just called the child, the kid, the child, the boy, whatever. We don't know him. We don't know if he's related to Yoda. We can make our own minds at this point, but you will enjoy it, I think, if you like that sort of thing. So I will see you in the next video. Hey, hope you enjoyed all this new stuff we're doing. It's going to be fun. We got a lot more to do. It's going to be a very involved project, but I think you'll enjoy it. I know I am. So if you haven't, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing.